I'm sorry, but the tan fucking color scheme goes so fucking hard. It's so good. GW, why did you change it to fucking white? The literal absence of color. It's so boring.
In the grim darkness of the far future, life sucks. Technology is either not understood, feared, or both. Civil liberties are at their best. You get 2 corpse bars to eat instead of 1. And demons, ancient robotic zombies, and an all-consuming swarm of vor enthusiasts are all tearing the galaxy a new hole and
Boring enthusiast is a very, very new way of describing Tyranids, and I hate it. Thank you. Thank you, Pancreas. I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that
generally
so
things
much.
just aren't great. But what if I told you there was a relatively bright spot in the galaxy? Rather than everyone at all times suffering under the burden of a 10,000-year-old decaying empire, there's a faction in Warhammer that's doing pretty alright, all things
Sorry, my freaking Twitch chat. Pound the subscribe button so hard, it'll make your ex gel. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Might want to turn up the volume of the video. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
considered. Where technology is just technology, not a religion, and the government at least
There you go,
pretends to
guys.
give a damn about you. Where there's no worlds where life expectancy is
Imagine that, chat. If the government actually gave a damn about you, that'd be so nice. Not me, though. Not here. Not here. Not here. Really be, shush. Sorry, YouTube, I have my dogs with me, so they might start barking. If you hear it in the recording, I apologize.
measured in months.
Ruby.
Are they invincible? Not at all. They're surrounded by overwhelming threats. Are they perfect? Of course not. Not even in the slightest. But if there's anyone you can
They're the best fucking shot you have for having, like, a semi-okay, not a good life. The tower, like, the only shot you have of having, like, a semi-okay life. A semi-good one, at the
call
most.
a good guy in the miserable hellhole that is Warhammer 40k, it's these fellas. And even if that kind of thing isn't up your alley, giant mech suits are pretty cool, wouldn't you agree? If you
Based, fucking absolutely based. This is the best part about Tav, is their fucking suits. Their battle suits go so fucking hard, chat. They're not cringe Gundams, but they're also not like super just like gothic and like I was gonna say Halo, not Halo. They're not like Space Marine. They're very iconic. Like this, whenever I think of Tau, I think of the battle suits. That is like to me like iconic fucking Tau battle suits.
don't agree, I'm gonna continue on regardless. So with all that in mind, why don't we go explore the Tau Empire, and if they're the faction for you.
Surrender, human. If not for you,
Dawn
then
of
for
War.
the greater good.
The greater good is coming to you from the end of my bolter alien.
The
I'm
greater
gonna call
good
it.
is coming to you from my
I knew
bolter
it.
alien.
I've played too much Dawn of War. I played way too much Dawn
The
of
Tau
War.
are a race of blue-skinned fish alien things that live in the very corner of the Warhammer galaxy, right about here. Unlike pretty much everyone else, there's nothing really ancient about them, at least by 40k standards. They're still older than any modern human civilization.
No,
No
they're
connection to
baby.
wars
They're
10,000
fucking
years
baby.
ago or even 65 million years ago. No time spent traveling between galaxies, which, if you weren't aware, takes a hot minute to do. Their story begins about 6,000 years ago when the Imperium sent an exploration expedition into the galaxy to poke around for things like archaeotech and more Xenos to kill. They almost achieved the second one of those when they found the primitive Tau of the time, still only at the level of the Stone Age. The Imperium added them to the Purge.
So then, wait. So Tau were not like super advanced when they found them. They're primitive, like hunter-gatherers?
So
Question
they could
mark.
colonize the world they were on when all of a sudden warp storms started racking the galaxy. Shrugging their shoulders, the Imperium just listed the whole area of space as lost to chaos and went to deal with the whole evil space pope ruining everything problem that it had at the time. Naturally, you'd think being
That's
stranded in a
smart.
hellstorm would be a death sentence to the Tau, but believe it or not, it wasn't. Their warp presence is minuscule compared to most other factions, so the demons that would have been in the area just didn't notice them. Imagine sneaking in a Bethesda game when the skill is maxed out and you've got a pretty good idea of what it was like for them, just not intentional. Unperturbed and in fact ignorant of
Wait, so okay, so a warp storm, I'm gonna guess is I know I've seen them in Dawn of War, but I never actually know what they are. I just thought they were like a big like group of like chaos clouds in space that made it hard to navigate. I didn't think they were actually like you avoid them like the plague kind of thing.
what was going on around them, the Tau advanced through the tech tree, and at one point, roughly around the Bronze or Iron Age equivalent for us, they had divided themselves into 4 nations based on Avatar The Last Airbender. There was water, earth, fire, and air, and none of them could beat the
Oh,
rest.
for
And
fuck's
so it was
sake. Yeah, the fucking fire cast. That's all I know. I know the fire cast for the game Fire Warrior. And hey, then if you played Fire Warrior, how much of the dumpster fire is that game? Like for real,
Total
for real?
Warhammer 37K. That was awful. Cut that out. Eventually, a mysterious fifth group of Tau known as the Ethereals united them. First, they appeared at a siege between two of these nations and convinced each side to just quit it with all the fighting if they wouldn't mind. Then they convinced every other Tau on the planet to make nice with each other, and soon enough, the never-ending Tau Golden Age had begun. The former nations organized themselves based on the things they excelled at before into a caste system. Fire Tau were the strongest, so they became the Fire Warrior caste who do all the ground fighting and pilot the gunmen. The Water caste do diplomacy, the Air caste drop bombs on people from above, and the Earth caste do all the boring technological development that no one cares about but needs to happen because it's a sci-fi setting. The Ethereals, naturally, are the leaders of the United.
Okay, surprisingly, that actually makes a lot of sense, considering that the soldier ones are fire cast and all the rest. The war one doesn't make sense because war doesn't fly. Oh wait, no, the water cast isn't the fucking flying ones, that's the air cast. Okay, sorry, I'm warning here, I'm warning. I didn't know all the ins and outs of Tau. I just like them because they have cool mech suits. I don't get why people shit on Tau. I really don't. I think they're cool. I think they're fucking cool, purely because of the fucking battle suits. Give me those Tau battle suits any fucking day over fucking dwarfs or fucking or custodies. I'll take a battle suit every single
Tau race
time.
because of course they put themselves at the top. In the span of a few thousand years, they went from a race of Stone Age barbarians to a star-spanning empire whose average level of tech is better.
Also, just a quick note, for the life of me, I will never understand why GW changed their color scheme. The new Tau color scheme of just the white and black is the most boring color scheme on fucking earth. I hate it. They should go back to the ochre. The ochre was so much cooler. Such a fucking good color scheme. I have no clue why they changed it. It looks awful now. Go back to the fucking orange color scheme, the desert tab. It was so much cooler.
And before you shit a brick, I said average level of tech, as in what Johnny Tau the Fire Warrior is likely to see day to day. I'll talk more about how it stacks up to other stuff later. Don't you worry, Mr. Imperium fan writing fast at me in the comments. Eventually, the warp storms blanketing their little corner of space cleared up.
Gotta have the Imperium in there. The Imperium's so much better. I mean, it probably is, to be fair, but like, come on. Let the Tau have a little bit of limelight.
Everyone in the Imperium except for the Mechanicus lost all records of the Tau's existence before reality decided to give the Tau a handicap. And even then, the Cogboys still had no idea that the Tau were anything but Civ 5 barbarians. So when the Imperium went to check what was in this part of the galaxy, since they just kinda forgot, they found an expansionist alien empire poking around the galaxy and asking if anyone would like to join the greater good. Indeed, several alien races near the Tau were integrated into their empire.
Okay, I actually like Kroot. Kroot are fucking cool as shit. They're cool as shit. I know, all I know about them is that, like, they were, like, not conquered, but they joined the Tau willingly. And that if they eat people, they get, like, their genetic memories or something. Something along those lines for Kroot. I know that
degrees,
much.
such as the Kroot and Vespid. There's also the Demiurge, who are supposed.
I hate these. I hate them. They're shit. They're just dwarves. They're just fucking space dwarves. We have fucking dwarves in the fantasy game. We don't need dwarves in sci-fi. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry to any Leagues of Lotan players, but I will never like Leagues of Lotan. Ever. Ever. I fucking just do not like them.
Replacement squats, but the actual squats are back now, so who the fuck knows what's up with them anymore. To make a very long story short, the Tau began annexing Imperial planets, and I want you to remember the word annexing and integrating them into their empire. The Imperium
Wait, what? Wait, actually, I say base. What is annexing? Is it just like taking over a planet peacefully, or is it like conquering? Surely it's not the same, right? Because like if it's conquering is like involves conflict, and annexing, I guess, is like a peaceful takeover, right? That's what I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. For rocks and stones, there is a difference? Question mark. I don't know. I think because I don't think the Tau would just like if the people are gonna surrender. I don't think the Tau would actively like engage. They'd just be like, okay, we're just gonna move in now. Seeing as you surrender, we'll move in. Did I hear Watkins? No, he didn't. To make the long story short,
Actually threw a hissy fit over this and declared the Damocles Crusade in response. At first it went well for them. There were some pains, like when they found out that Tau ships will obliterate anything at long range, but then some mad lad space marines got into broadside distance and fired everything, and the Tau rapidly retreated. Then things started not going well. Ships would arrive at their destinations completely separated from the rest of their fleet, making themselves very easy pickings for the Tau. Any landings on Tau worlds after the first one went atrociously, and overall the Imperium learned that the Tau weren't just another random Xeno species to roll over and kill. After that, the relationship between the two became something kinda like the Cold War, except not really. There'd be occasional border skirmishes and
Wait, I swear, haven't the fucking Imperium and Tau teamed up now and then? Like, I'm not saying all the time, but I feel like if there's any faction that would, like, coexist with the Imperium, then it'd be the Tau, right? Because I know they've done it with the Eldar too, and Necrons. I know for a fact they've done it once with the Necrons.
invasion every now and then, but also trade and cooperation against the occasional Tyranid Hive fleet and Orc Goon squad. Sure, they don't like each other, but given what's in the rest of the galaxy, they're more than happy to lay down their differences for just a moment.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Okay, maybe coexisting is like an overstatement, but like at least like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of vibe. Like, okay, we've got this big ass Tyranid fucking splinter fleet. If we keep fighting each other, we're just gonna die and get eaten by them. We need to team the fuck up and combine forces to hope we have a chance of fucking the Tyranids over. Then we can go back to killing ourselves. I feel like that would be way more common in this setting, considering how present the Tyranids are now. The Tau, as a rule, always try to talk first, even when it's the Tyranids. Hodrick Army! Oh no! I wanna know what happened when the Tau met the Drakari. Or fucking, what's it called? Nurgle people. Because if they tried to talk to the fucking Nurgle fuckers, oh my god, that must have been horrifying. And then yeah, the Drakari, just making fucking like furniture out of the.
But if
Oh
the need
no.
arises. I mean, if nothing else, what would you rather have as your neighbor? This or this? Let's take a break from the history and talk about the greater good, their guiding philosophy. To expand on it a little bit, the greater good is more or less the Tau philosophy on the universe and where the dead meme of them being communist comes from. It essentially means that each part works towards the betterment of the whole, each Tau and allied species contributing to the greater empire. Whatever course of action is best for most people is what they're gonna do. Granted, it just so happens that Tau are the majority race of the Tau Empire, but that's surely just semantics. Now, people
No, never. Tau are the majority race of the Tau Empire. What makes you
who
say
failed
that?
high school history class might immediately go, Commie! Commie! Because McCarthyism is alive and well, but it really isn't. They have a caste system, the
I mean, communism is bad. Like, there's no if and or buts about it. Communism never works. Socialism is a
entire government is
joke.
highly meritocratic, although at the same time rather nepotistic, and if nothing else, the Tau generally don't have to wait in lines for bread or toilet paper. If you're wondering what that sound was, it was everyone on the Sig Marxism subreddit doing a 180 on their opinion of me. TLDR, while there's an element of communism in the Tau, if you created what the Tau have in real life and told
The fact there's a fucking Marxist fucking subreddit, I want to say that surprises me, but it doesn't. It doesn't. We are falling every day because
Karl
of
Marx
this.
was communism, he'd punch you in the throat. For all I said earlier about the Tau being good people by the standards of Warhammer, I meant it. I said to take heed of the word annexing earlier because that's what the Tau do. They annex worlds and the people on them. They aren't xenocidal. They're willing to make friends or
Okay, so I have to be right then, like, chat. Someone in the YouTube comments that's smarter than me will be able to tell me, right? I'm gonna guess annexing means it's a peaceful takeover, or like relatively peaceful takeover, like not an invasion, not a conquest, that kind of thing. It
at
has
least
to
allies
be
with
right.
those who are willing in return. This has bit them in the ass before, which I'll get to, but it also lets them take over entire Imperial systems because the Imperium is the worst government possible. That was about half hyperbole for everyone on their way to list governments that may or may not be worse.
You can't annex with threats of violence. Okay, so threatening and then people like fucking submitting for the threats. Okay, annexation just means you take the planet's territory. Oh, wait. So then it is conflict then, right? Question mark? I'm so
Granted, humans and
confused.
other races are often treated as second-class citizens, but even then they can still rise up to positions of power, and by the standards of 40k, that's hugely better than anyone else. All that being said, they're nice by the standards of
Honestly,
40k.
true.
Throw them in Star Trek and you've got a villain on your hands. They're highly expansionist and seldom refuse a chance to take over an Imperial world when the opportunity arises. Lore heavily hints that their ethereal leaders are using mind control pheromones to control other Tau, and people who are perhaps a bit too dissident may or may not be sent to a sterilization camp.
Wait, I remember hearing about this. Yeah. The fucking ethereals are like mind controlling all the Tau. That's why they're like so unified. Because they're all mind controlled. Because they like, I guess like you said, like pheromones or whatever, but I think I like that more. Because then they're not just like goody two-shoes, we are the best because we're just like, you know, nice people. It's, we're the best, but we don't realize that we're being controlled and manipulated by our own government. So we are kind of evil if you think about it. That gives them way more depth. I like that. I think that should be the route
Certain
they go
species
with.
are also on a list of beings that cannot be saved and must therefore be executed. But for context on how awful you need to be to get on that list, it's really only the Tyranids, Orcs, and Dark Eldar on it. Not exactly the races I'd call nice. Love also is not a thing in the Tau Empire, as the government literally assigns you a partner to breed with for the sole purpose of making new Tau. You also can't...
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? A government issued breeding partner sounds so horrible. Right, I know there are people out there that are like, oh my god, yes please. The government give me a GF. But chat, this is what you get. This guy here is what you, this would be your government issued breeding partner. You don't want that. You do not fucking want that. That's awful. That is an awful fucking
breed
thing,
with another
bro.
caste and your child will be the same caste as you are. Much of this was added in response to people complaining the Tau were too nice, and I'd say GW did a decent job making them Grimnarch while still making them nicer than the rest of the galaxy. One final thing I'd like to cover before I get into the pros and cons is their inspirations in real life. Naive weeaboo communists is an accusation often thrown at them, and like I said earlier, I don't think they're communists beyond a few.
No kinks allowed in the Empire. Yeah, you won't be able to have kinks anymore if you went into Tau. It won't be good, chat. It won't be good.
Naive? Well, we'll get to that one soon enough. And as for weeaboo, yes, but there's a lot more to it than them just being inspired by anime. There certainly is anime inspiration. I mean, they have battle suits that, to be honest with you, are just
so fucking cool. These are so fucking cool. They did fucking mech suits correctly. I know they're inspired by Gundam, but I think Gundam have like some of the worst designs. These are so good. These are so cool.
It's not an insult, Gundam kicks ass, but there's a lot more to it than that. For instance, their entire society revolving around a caste system is similar to the ancient Hindu caste system. There's just no Aryans this time, though waving a Tau flag in the Imperium is at best probably going to get you the same response as waving a flag of the windmill of friendship and tolerance would in Germany today. They also take inspiration.
Windmill of friendship? Oh god. Okay, that took me like a genuine fucking... I'm so dumb. I'm so fucking dumb. I'm so fucking dumb. Okay, that took me like a hot minute. I'm sorry. I get it now. I get it.
Japan during the 1930s and 40s of all times. Their major expansion attempts are referred to as spheres of expansion, and would you look at what Japan was trying to create at the time, the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. In that same vein, it was viewed by Europe as an Eastern nation that at the time was new to being what they considered a proper industrial...
Wait, why is Japan Australia? What? Wait, why is all of Asia, Australia, sorry, all of Asia, Japan? What the fuck happened? This is a...
power and was trying to grow its influence. And sure enough, the Tau are located in the eastern arm of the galaxy and are a new yet relatively powerful civilization trying to expand themselves. So while calling them an army for weebs isn't really wrong, because mecha, there's also a lot more interesting influence than just anime here. The new...
Japan was trying to create an empire? I mean... I know they were imperialists back in World War II, yeah, but I didn't realize they're trying to make an
Powers
empire.
on the galactic block are ready to take on all challengers, or at least they think they are, so I go for the blueies. Well, let's get this out of the way so I don't have to keep bringing it up over and over again. The Tau are the closest you're going to get to actual good guys in this setting. Like I said earlier, compared to everyone else, they're a faction of Mother Teresa's. Even if you can argue that the Imperium and Eldar do the stuff they do out of necessity, the Tau aren't doing anything nearly at the same scale as them. Especially the Farside Enclaves, they're actually just straight up good guys.
Yeah, Farsight is fucking... I don't care. Farsight Enclave is based. He's fucking cool as shit. Commander Farsight, best boy, best guy in the whole thing. I know his sword is like meant to be like demonic or something, right? But I don't care. Farsight is cool as shit. And I will
Not
fight
good
you on
guys by the
that.
standards of 40k, actually good guys. They kill orcs and have no mind control rulers and anything like that. The closest thing to evil they have is the titular
Exactly.
commander Farsight using a vampire sword, which is almost exclusively wielded against orcs. If anything, that's a goddamn civil service. Of course, by that same token, they also still do awful things because this is still Warhammer 40k. I know I'm repeating myself between these 2 points, so I'll make this quick. Tau have re-education camps, use mind control, and still treat other races like second-class citizens.
I mean, I mean, okay, so IRL, that would be monstrous, okay? That would be horrific and monstrous. In the case of 40k, that's probably like the nicest you could probably ask for, which
The
is
whole point
fucked
of me
up.
saying this again is that ultimately you can run the entire spectrum of morality with the Tau, which is a positive. Whether you want a more good or evil viewpoint on them, they can accommodate you. Time to say something new now. The Tau, unlike pretty much every other faction in the game, represent progress. They aren't a dying feudal empire in space like the Imperium, and they aren't damned to eternal torment upon death like the Eldar. And of course, they aren't a shadow of their former selves like everyone, to be honest with you. They've only ever been going up in their society. There was no horrendous dark age following a golden age that will never be recreated. They've had plenty of setbacks, sure, but they haven't been hard reset like everyone else has. I guess the Tyranids have.
Wait, so does that mean that, like, the Tau haven't even peaked yet? So, like, given enough time, and if they're, like, left alone to their own devices, Tau could have, like, their version of, like, the Imperium of their Gold Age, kinda? Or the Necrons,
Progressed
maybe?
much either, but the only thing they're progressing towards is a galactic buffet table, so I don't really count them personally. If you like anime, then hoo boy are these the guys for you. Look at all these.
I'm sorry, but the tan fucking color scheme goes so fucking hard. It's so good. GW, why did you change it to fucking white? A little absence of color. It's so boring. Pretty much, the Tower still in their golden age. Oh, so this is their golden age. Tower will make AI and get cooked like always happens. Bro, if that's the case, we're fucking heading to that, and that's scary as fuck. We're heading to that
Wonderful
location.
Gundam figures. Even the things that aren't Gundam still look like anime. I mean, look at the basic Fire Warriors. Dirty them up a bit and tell me these guys don't belong in Cowboy Bebop or something like that. Combine that with the fact that the
I've
Tau
never
are very
seen it, so
distinctly
I don't know.
Japanese in
Sorry,
spite of their
Pancreas.
other historical inspirations, and you have a weeb's wet dream. It makes sense after all. One reason they were developed was to cash in on the Japanese market. But
They're kind of heading there. The Great Rift has begun to open their eyes to what the galaxy is truly like. When you get the Tau, you can paint them how you want. I have some in boxes still. One day I will move on to Tau, but at the minute I'm going World Eaters because I'm a freak.
to avoid
I
ruining this
guess.
video with too much of my weeb crap, if you like weeb crap, you'll like the Tau. And even if you don't like anime, it's not hard to imagine the Tau battlesuits as Titans from Titanfall. There's also the Ghost
Based Titanfall. Titanfall mentioned fucking Based. Oh, such a good game. Such a good game. Even the first one was good.
from Halo for some reason. I mean, ghosts are fun to drive, I guess, so
Oh,
why not
Ghost,
put it in
yeah.
the ranks? Bit of a tangent, but if you're a fan of playing the long game, you'll probably like the Tau. Because history runs in cycles, and as much as people don't want to admit it, the Tau are poised to become the next major superpowers in many ways. They haven't regressed really in any
Let's
way, shape, or
go.
form, they're only ever expanding, and their neighbors are dying empires. Now I'm going to address their relative
You know what? Yeah. Tower coming on top. Tower are going on top, chat. You hear it here. Tower are gonna be the big dogs. They're gonna be the big dogs as long as Chaos doesn't wipe them the fuck out. Or Nids, for that one. Cowboy Bebop watch along. I don't know if I'll enjoy it. I'm gonna be real. I know it's like one of those like quintessential animes that everybody should watch, but like I get the feeling that I just won't enjoy it. I really have no interest in it. I'm gonna be real. I like the big clunky knights and the titans and the yeah, they're cool. They're cool. Oh yeah, watch Cowboy Bebop and anime. Avoid the live action. Nah, I'm just gonna stay with Violet Evergarden and watch that. would say cute if they heard
Drink later,
that.
but consider ancient humanity in 40k really quickly. It had to contend with countless xenospecies, the subtle influence of chaos, and the colossal Eldar Empire of the time, and it still managed to become the galaxy-wide Imperium we know and love. The Tau similarly have to contend with a whole variety of incredibly strong enemies, but none of them are able to take the Tau out without weakening themselves on other fronts. And the Tau are both clever and strong enough to slowly expand at the perfect time to maximize gain and minimize loss. Well, I don't know if their galactic primacy would last very long when they finally...
Okay, so I always thought about that, right? So, like, the Imperium is, like, stronger than the Tower, like, more numerous. Certainly, if they wanted to, they could just devote out, like, a massive, like, part of their army to wiping out the Tower completely. I always thought about that. Like, why don't they just, like, fully commit to wiping them out if they don't like them that much? And now I guess I know why. Now I know why. The Imperium would annihilate them, but it would cost. Yeah, it would weaken them on other fronts, so then they'd lose territory there and suffer that way. So yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like a stalemate situation. I get it. Yeah, but if you move troops, others will. Yeah, exactly. It would spread them to Superfin. Yeah, exactly.
Given that things like the Orcs and Tyranids exist, or to be honest with you, how such a thing would come about, the Tower in many ways poised to take over when the Imperium finally cracks. Perhaps they won't be the last man standing, but for a decent bit of time I could see them being the dominant power. At least if Warhammer didn't run on plot armor and the Imperium shattered like it should have long ago, this would be the case. But a man can dream, and so can the Tau. And while this aspect of the Tau has unfortunately been downplayed more and more, the Tau are currently the closest thing.
This is Stellaris. This isn't Warhammer. This is Stellaris artwork right here.
That 40k has to offer. There's the Kroot, the Vespid, and the unfortunately underrepresented Demiurge as the major Tau allied species.
You say unfortunate, I say fortunately underrepresented because we don't need them. We don't need them and we don't want them. Give us some cooler alien fucking races. Give us stuff that doesn't look like another fucking form of the human. There's so many humanoid fucking races in Warhammer. Give us some actual aliens.
And while there's no official tabletop model, there are millions of humans happy to fight for the Tau and serve its government. While yes, the Imperium also has client xenostates within itself, they aren't given nearly the same level of representation as they would get amongst the Tau. So if you like playing a xenophile empire in Stellaris, here's the army for you. Finally, the Tau are, for a variety of reasons, immune to being destroyed despite their small size. Militarily speaking, despite being possibly the smallest faction, they punch well above their weight class. Even Caiaphas Cain says if there's one thing that...
Because that's like, aren't they like, so correct me if I'm wrong guys, but aren't they like Tau, like, their weapons are probably like the most advanced in the galaxy? Not in okay, so let me explain what I mean. So they have advanced weaponry, like really advanced weaponry, and it's numerous. Every single unit has one. They're well equipped and they're well trained, so they can punch, like you said, punch way above their weight. Whereas the other races, they do have way more advanced technology, but it's fewer and far between, and they don't all have it. Only like a few of them have it, or like a certain number of them have it, kind of thing. So they're not able to hit as hard as Tau are in general. Would I be correct on that, or long chat? They are frailer than humans on average. The Tau are lumbering with Tau power, unlike anyone else that wants to charge it with a knife. More advanced than good old Daka. They have more advanced tech to the Imperium and large enough numbers to remain competitive. Tau's average tech is very high. Okay,
Tau know how to do, it's put on a good war. He may be a coward, but he knows when someone is good at fighting. How else do you think he knows to run away from them? Because of this, no other faction can destroy them because such a thing would require committing more resources than they can spare. Massive Imperial Crusade coming? Hope the Emperor doesn't mind losing half his territory to Orcs and Chaos while it goes on. Chaotic Incursion? Sure, that'll suck. It'll suck for the god invading when the other three pounce on them for being distracted. Some of this is plot armor, I admit, but let me ask you a question.
Okay, I see. I get it. I get it now. I keep doing this chat. I always ask questions, and then they immediately fucking answer. They're just like, hang the fuck on.
If the Imperium can regularly destroy Orc Waz with more orcs in them than a hive world has people, Marnius Caligar can destroy an Avatar of Cain in 1v1 combat, and Chaos Demons and Imperial Saints can resurrect themselves forever, why don't the Tau deserve the plot armor of not being instantly wiped? Doesn't seem like too much of an ask, truth be told. You can say it's unrealistic.
That's true. You know what? I'm gonna fight for that. Tau deserve plot armor too. We need more Tau plot armor, okay? More Tau
Realistic,
plot
sure,
armor,
but
please.
people fight space battles like it's 17th century naval combat in this setting. The concept of realism and Warhammer 40k aren't exactly on speaking terms.
Doesn't make
One
sense.
last final thing.
Yeah.
The Tau were quite intelligent. Now, I'm sure many people bring up the bit in Old War where the Eldar were uplifting them, but abandoned the project because they were uncreative and had difficulty developing on their own. The Tau, that is. That's a fair point, but remember it was the Eldar saying that, because the Tau
Nephi is Tau curious. Yes, I'm very Tau curious.
have a
You
very
got
minor
me.
warp presence. The Eldar's version of uncreative may damn well have just been they can't do space magic, therefore who cares about these chumps. They went from Stone Age tech to Star Wars in 6,000 years. In our own history,
That right there is amazing. That is incredible. Stone Age to fucking space white in 6,000 years is incredible. We haven't fucking
went from the
managed
Stone Age
that.
to ancient Egypt in roughly that time span. That's impressive whether or not they did that by
Holy
themselves, let alone the
shit.
fact they're able to understand and
Hi,
replicate
Seven.
all of it. They were able to analyze the Codex Astartes to predict space marine battle actions. They were able to constantly adapt to Tyranid fighting organisms so the hive mind in turn couldn't adapt to them. Say what you want about these bits of lore and whether or not they're total BS, but at the end of the day, the Tau clearly have some spark of genius buried inside of them. How about some tabletop positives?
No, yeah,
The Tau are all
100%. Okay. Why? Why did you have to show room like this? I will never get over this, chat. This will be like one of my biggest fucking pet peeves and grievances with GW. Other than the fact that they constantly push the prices for no fucking reason other than they know that people pay it. Why? Why? It is the most boring looking army. Go back to the Tau with the ochre. The desert color scheme was so much cooler, bro. Oh. Different cadres in it. I know, but like, it just looked boring. They look like fucking stormtroopers, bro. There's nothing bad with stormtroopers. Stormtroopers are cool. But like, the desert fucking color scheme went so much fucking better. Spending 3 incoming? No, I've already got my world eaters like 1k army, like me building and painting, so I'm focused
all
on
about
that for
range.
now.
If you like playing a sci-fi army that actually acts like a science fiction army instead of medieval knights with power armor, then you want the Tau, plain and simple. In the lore, they fight remarkably like an actual real-life army, practicing economies of scale and force and doing their best to minimize their own casualties while maximizing the enemy, not just charging headfirst into the fray with a chainsaw sword. And naturally, this means
Yeah, but where's the fun? Where's the fun? You want to charge your enemy with a sword. That's
they
the
use,
fun part.
guns, not fucking swords. What this means for the tabletop is that anything downrange of you is swiftly going to be reduced to cinders and ashes. Their basic infantry weapon is perhaps the single best basic infantry weapon in the game, hitting its strength 5 AP 1. For reference, a bolt rifle, which is essentially an RPG assault rifle gun, is strength 4 AP 1. And that's on beefed up Primaris Marines. If you're running old Firstborn, you get strength 4 AP 0, my friend. Beyond that, there's a
AP0? AP0? What the fuck? That
of
sucks
course,
ass,
this
bro.
thing, for when you need there to be more missiles in the air than oxygen. And of course,
You
it's
sure
how
you aren't a green skin Nefri? No, I'm not a fan of orcs. I don't hate orcs. I genuinely believe they belong in 40k and I'm happy they're there. I got to fight orcs in my last Warhammer game for the first time, so that was fun. But I don't care for them myself. I'm never going to be into orcs, ever. I know that much. That's why I started World Eaters, because they're cool.
railgun for when you absolutely, positively need to tell someone exactly where they can stick their invulnerable save. Because when someone's using one of these things, they don't get one. If an invulnerable save is that one
Wait, yeah, 72 inch. I've not actually looked at the fucking railgun. 72 inches, heavy 1, 14, minus 6 AP, D3 plus 6 to the damage.
asshole kid with an everything-proof shield, the Tau railgun is when you punch that kid in the face for being a shitheel and ruining recess.
Minus
There's dozens
6
of
AP,
specifics I can cover, but
14
to save some
strength.
time, anything with enough Tau
Fucking
weapons pointed at
hell.
it is going to go away violently. The Tau can also be fairly easily built around
Yeah.
causing a hefty amount of mortal wounds, which combined with the fact that the Tau are the kings of the ranged game means that any horde armies that can't close the gap are going to melt before your gun line. Unless you dwell on that loaded statement too much before we get to the cons, the Tau can fairly efficiently force armies into a ranged battle. They can also shoot in response to a charge for free, and it hits on a 5 instead of a 6 like everyone else.
This scares me. This scares me. Like, genuinely now. As somebody who's just started World Eaters, and is going into an army that has almost 0 ranged, if I had to fight the Tau, I'd actually be scared. I know for a fact I would win if I got them into melee. And that is the whole point of World Eaters, is to get into melee. But it's getting into that melee with them that is the scary thing. If I can get there, I'm fine. I'm fucking balling. If they can cheat me at fucking range and pick me off, then I'm fucked. Also, I need to pause recording here 1 sec.
So don't fret if someone manages to close the gap, you aren't screwed quite yet. They're also a highly mobile army. Pretty much all units that aren't their basic infantry have the fly keyword and are decently fast to boot, so you'll have no trouble zooming around the board to get those units where they need to be. Want to deploy a unit of fire warriors behind enemy lines? Go for it. Jump a unit of battlesuits into the fray to turn the tide at just the right moment? Pretty sure that's what they're designed to do. And if not, it's a very cool mental image, so I'm gonna stick to being wrong if I am wrong. Between stratagems and just their plain old stat lines, their vehicles are also pretty tanky too. Sure, not Forces of Nurgle tanky, but that's hardly a complaint. And this extends to character units too, because drones. Drones can do all kinds of screwy things. They can help the Tau infantry be more accurate or hit a bit harder. They also have their own little pulse carbines, so they can do decently in battle as well. No worse than a fire warrior anyway. But most importantly, you can put them in front of a character and they can take a wound for them. This can take your standard Tau special little dude from 3 or 4 wounds to functionally having 12. Or more if you really want to tell someone to go to hell. Their auxiliaries can also fill in
I knew you could do that, but I don't know why, but it just kind of sounded new again.
some gaps in their roster, even if only slightly. The Kroot certainly perform better in melee than the Tau, and aren't the worst at ranged combat. Certainly not good, but could be worse. If nothing else, they're also decent meat shields for important things, so there's always that.
Oh wait, yeah. You can also use the Tau auxiliaries, like the Kroot and stuff, and Vespid for like if you with the Tau I'm going to build at some point. I want a full combined arms Tau. So I'm going to have Kroot in there to screen and for melee purposes only. And then the Tau to sit back and fire. I'm literally using Kroot as like fucking human shields,
You've even
basically.
got this thing, which is decent at melee and ranged on top of being respectably fast, at the cost of looking really, really stupid.
No, the new Kroot fucking range slaps hard. It's so good. It's
I don't know how to word this, but I don't think it looks like a bad model. It just looks dumb. Like, they definitely feed this thing glue for breakfast. Vespid, meanwhile, are fast as all hell and can rain down some punishment. The perfect flankers for the fire warriors go.
Vespid need a model. Wait, Bex, what are you talking about? They did. Kill Team. The Kill Team release. Like a year or so ago, like I had one and they look sick. I have that Kill Team. I have those Vespids somewhere. They look sick. The Vespid look good now.
For one final point worth mentioning, the Manta. This thing is 25 inches long and 34 inches wide. It is 28 pounds. Here are its stats. If anyone tells you that the Tau don't have a Titan, they're right, but they
Imagine, chat. Imagine bringing this to a game. Imagine bringing this monster to a
also
fucking
clearly
game.
don't need one. Suck on that, Mechanicus. Did you note that this model can only make melee attacks against units that can fly? I'm sorry for all of you who can not only afford the Tau Manta, but also planned on using it like a bloodthirster. I hope the
yeah, almost $2,000 for this, by the way, chat. $2,000. And I've seen, I can't remember where they're called, but there's like this like painting studio, really good. Oh, Squidwire Minis, I think. They got one. They bought one of these mantas. It is ridiculously big. It is like the size, like I don't know. It's massive. It took 2 people to carry it. It's that big, chat. It's huge. And everything inside it is detailed as well. There's like troop bays, there's vehicle storage, there's hangars and shit. There's like a command bridge. It's so
entire
detailed.
army's worth of firepower it can unleash makes up for that fact. Now for some lore downsides. Something you'll shortly notice is that I have more bad things to say about the Tau than good. That's not because I hate them, I quite like them in fact. It's just that there's a lot of things about them that I view as downsides. Downsides in the sense of do or don't anyway, not necessarily things that are awful about them, if that makes any sense. Now that I've done that little word of warning, let's talk shop. Something simple to get started with. If you prefer 40k's aesthetic of science fiction mixed with a feeling of both medievalism and lost glory, you don't want the Tau. There's none of that here because they've only really been going up in life. Not much to say really, just if you like old stuff being the best stuff, then you don't want the Tau. Moving on, something you might have noticed if you...
No, I'm good. I'm not one of those people who's like, old stuff is best stuff when it comes to 40k. I'm all in favor of 40k adapting, 40k changing and becoming better and newer, and I know it's a hot opinion. I know it's a very disliked opinion, but I like Primaris. I think Primaris are just really fucking cool. I want, if anything Space Marine happens, I want it to be Primaris. I want it to be that scale, that range. I'm not saying you're wrong for liking the old stuff. I understand that a lot of people have like nostalgia for the old stuff because that's when they got into it. That's totally understandable. That's totally fine. Me personally didn't have that, and I really think the new scopes and the new scale looks way better. It's all personal preference. Before people start typing angrily in the comments, it is all personal preference. I'm fully expecting some L takes, wrong opinions. You're incorrect, wrong.
Been a long-time fan of the channel is that every time I show the Tau on a map, I surround them with Tyranids and play that screaming sound effect I'm 99% certain is from gay porn. Not that I'm in any rush to confirm that fact, but I have my suspicions. That's because to say that the Tau are outnumbered and outgunned is an understatement. Well, I mentioned earlier that I think the Tau are like...
Okay, I have to admit, this is a fucking cool Arceus. This is really cool. This shows the genuine scale of how fucked power compared to
to
Space
become a major
Marines.
superpower if history run against Soicals is a belief you ascribe to. There's also the fact that at the moment they're a small fish in an ocean full of megalodons. While no faction can devote enough resources to destroy the Tau and they can punch well above their weight class, others can certainly devote enough to seriously harm them. The Damocles Crusade, while it didn't end in Tau destruction and was rather embarrassing for the Imperium, didn't really cost it that much. Despite the fact the Tau actually gained a few worlds out of the mess, they arguably came out worse for wear after because the Imperium can afford billions of losses in a campaign. The Tau really can't. Not repeatedly, anyways. This also means that
Is the Damocles goal interesting? Because I like Tau, so maybe I should read up on that. I say read up. I need to find videos to watch on the stream
variety of things
about
can
it.
ruin the Tau Empire. If Abaddon for some reason decided an entire Black Crusade needed to be thrown to the Tau, they're just screwed. If the Tyranids ever arrive en masse rather than the scouting forces most Hive fleets have been thus far, say goodbye Tau Empire, straight to the stummy of some angry bugs. Also, you're just gonna have to live with the fact I said the word stummy twice now.
You didn't even pick up on that, Pancreas. I hate you. Fuck you.
Say it again.
Fuck you.
Stummy. You can't stop me. Let's not forget the
No,
Farside
stop.
Enclaves either. They have, I believe, 4 entire star systems of their name. In 40k, that's nothing. That's less than nothing. They are to the Tau what the Tau are to the rest of the galaxy in terms of numbers. Relatedly, while their average level of technology is better than almost everyone else's but the Necrons and the Eldar, they lack the real big stuff that admittedly only ever makes an appearance in lore. But this is the lore section, so that's a valid criticism. They've got no archaeotech time-distorting super weapons like the Imperium, or devices that can turn a planet inside out like the Eldar, or the funny
What? Wait. Explain that. What? The fucking Eldar can turn a planet inside out? The fuck does that mean? I didn't know they could do that. I thought they were just like, a useless dying race that refused to fucking join to the grave where they belong. I didn't know they could fucking turn planets inside out. I know Necrons can destroy entire solar systems.
run button that can set any star in the galaxy to go supernova. Thank you for that one, GW writers. Very cool and balanced. While I have no doubt the Tau will eventually develop such things, they're a long ways off from it, and that can hurt them if anyone decides that things are getting desperate enough. There's a variety of reasons why each of these things those factions have aren't used, but at the end of the day, other people have those things and the Tau don't. To go back to an earlier point, let's talk about the naive part in naive weeaboo communists. It's been downplayed more and more given that the Tau have been around the block for a decent amount of time, but they're still in many ways in the dark about what's really in the galaxy. At least all but the highest echelons of their leadership are. A story that gets told a lot, but it's funny, so here it is again, is that when they first heard about Titans, they thought it was Imperial propaganda. Surely no one would be stupid enough to invest so many resources into a
Oh no! Oh, they must have gotten an absolute monumental wake-up call when one of those fuckers walked in. Holy shit! The Eldar and Dark Eldar have a lot of tech they can't use because they're warp-related. The Blackstone Fortress are Eldar tech. And the Dark Eldar are rigged with steel suns. At Black Delta, pre-Eldar even, the Titan story is funny. The church has legs, yeah.
single war machine. That's unbelievably wasteful. A single Titan's worth of resources could supply an army. Then those churches in the distance started walking towards them, and yeah, they learned pretty quickly that Titans aren't propaganda. They also don't really understand just how big the galaxy is.
Good. That's a very good. I hope that's in a book or something that's actually we can go look at because that's funny as fuck,
This is evidenced
bro.
by the time a Tau ambassador visited a hive world and was briefly struck with awe and more importantly horror when he realized that the hive world had more humans on it alone than there were Tau in the entire galaxy. And my favorite little anecdote, the time they trusted the Dark Eldar to be good people. The Dark Eldar
Oh, Oh no. Oh, fuck no. Fuck, 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 fuck. This is not. Oh god, oh god, oh fuck, oh no.
Took some Tau back to Kamara as foreign exchange students in return for helping the Tau against some tyranny.
Yeah, foreign exchange students. Yeah. You're gonna see those fucking people again. They're definitely coming
Then
back.
deployed those Tau as monsters that would make a Skaven proud on the field of battle. When the Tau saw what
Oh
their
my
brothers and sisters had
God.
become, they went to fire on the Dark Eldar. The Dark Eldar laughed and flipped on the bird before running away and kidnapping an entire planet's worth of Tau. I know they didn't meet them before and didn't know just how awful
That's awful, but I can't help but laugh a little bit. It was a horror
the
thought.
Eldar are, but I mean, look at them. Who trusts someone who looks like this? I know they say don't judge a book by its
Exactly.
cover, but when it's covered in spikes and flayed skulls, maybe just this once it's okay to do that. Anyways, point is to the Tower in the dark about just how awful the galaxy is and just how far out of their league they are a lot of the time. Lastly for lore, or at least lastly until I think of something else and then say lastly twice because I'm too lazy to go back and redo the script.
Somebody who wrote scripts and done recorded for based.
See also a few minutes ago in this very video is something that funnily enough applies both to the lore and tabletop, so here's the segue to the tabletop cons. They fight like a modern army, which makes them stand out and lends them a sense of realism. Realism is not something that generally survives first contact with 40k, so while
Yeah, we have fucking genetically engineered super soldiers that are religious fanatics, and we also have church-long legs. Realism doesn't belong in 40K.
realistically, they shouldn't be losing when some goober charges them across an open field with a sword. This isn't real life, it's 40k. So yeah, they get chopped into bits a lot because people in this setting don't recognize projectiles as a real threat. Speaking of getting chopped to bits, you're probably already well aware that the Tau aren't the kind of army you want in a melee fight, like at all. They perform about as well as guardsmen, which is to say very poorly. Problem there is that guardsmen are designed to die so the things can do their job well. Fire warriors aren't. Really the only Tau model that can do melee within the level of troop efficiency is Commander Farsight with his vampire sword thing. While their unparalleled range game means that they have a decent shot of cutting people down before they close the gap.
Don't they have a melee unit now? Like the fucking the twin sons or whatever they're called? Isn't that like a melee mech suit? I haven't looked into it in detail. Again, once I get to my Tau I will, but that's gonna be a while yet. I thought they had like a melee unit now. Like an actual Tau battle suit thing
Anything
for
that
it.
does manage to get close is going to ruin your day. And while I wouldn't want to get punched by a battle mech that's as tall as my house, that doesn't mean that's what it's designed to do. Any dedicated melee army getting to choppy range is a death sentence for you, so heads up on that. The range game is also pretty heavily reliant on marker lights.
Doris, what
Also,
the biddies? What the
chaos is more or less a blind spot for them. The Tau themselves are
Yeah,
very
yeah,
much
yeah.
psychically dampened compared to other species. As such, they're incapable of using the warp for FTL travel. They are alarmingly out of the loop when it comes to chaos and how it works.
Oh, I didn't know that part. I knew like they got like if Pancreas just said like at the beginning, they were like not like attacked by chaos in the big storm thing because they didn't chaos didn't even realize they were there and they just like ignored them, so they got like they were fine. So because they have no like soul or something, so they didn't get seen in the warp. Something like that, I think, right?
To sum it up, imagine a laser sight pointed at someone, except when you hit them with it, it stays on them. Using marker lights well allows the Tau to hit shots that otherwise they likely wouldn't, and turns their already impressive range game into something that's damn near unbeatable. Problem is, if you can't land a marker light shot for one reason or another, the Tau don't shoot any better than a guardsman. If your sources of marker lights are destroyed or you're just unlucky with rolls, you can have a perfect plan and it might not matter because you hit only half the time, and coordinate berserkers don't really care about things like bullets. Their steady diet of glue and crayons makes them immune, you see. Critical use
Hey, don't insult my glue and cranny, you fucking berserker boys. I have a squad of 10 beautifully painted berserker boys right here. You can't see it, chat, but I'm holding it up to the screen like a fucking schizophrenic, like you can see through my fucking monitor. They're good boys, okay? Do not fucking shit on my fucking berserker boys. I like my berserker
of your marker
boys.
lights is key, and while using them as a distraction is a valid tactic, you need to be careful with that before your well thought out trap turns into just shooting yourself in the foot. I mentioned earlier how a lot of the units have the fly keyword, which is a major buff to their mobility. Their predictable downside is that anti-aircraft fire is going to send a lot of these units plummeting to the ground like Black Hawk Down in space. You'll need to know what each enemy unit can do as well as what your own army can do with the Tau. While it isn't like the Eldar where a certain unit is only really good in a certain situation, for the Tau it's more along the lines of knowing what units can get through and what's going to shred them like paper. Your battlesuits jumping in to save the day isn't going to happen when Jerry the Guardsman kicks back at his AA gun and blows them all out of the sky.
Yeah, true. You get AA because you can get the guard have the big AA gun vehicle thing, right? I swear they do. They have like a big AA gun that you can just use for them. That's like the counter to all the flying from
Because you thought
Tau.
that having 4 wounds made you a god among men. Their auxiliaries are also pretty meh in the grand scheme of things. This is largely due to a lack of support in comparison to the battle mechs. Sure, Battletech is cool, and I'm glad Games Workshop agrees, but allied alien species are also cool, and there's a very limited amount of those to get. A mainly crude force is just skimping yourself. If you want to play a mainly Vespa,
Oh yeah, you want like a mix. That's what I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go for a mix of Tau and
force, I don't know what to tell you. They're relatively niche units, good at their specific roles, but beyond that, not great, and certainly not something to build an army out of. It's very fun to see them on the tabletop instead of the 50th Hammerhead, but unfortunately being unique and interesting means nothing in the eyes of Games Workshop. Lastly, money. Tau models are expensive both in-game and in
Lastly, and most importantly, GW constantly raising prices for no reason. We are not in COVID anymore. Supply chains are fine. They're good again. GW has made record profits. In the last like 5-6 years, GW has been making stonks. There is no need, there is no fucking need for them to increase the prices again. And I know they just did it recently, like as last year, I think. I guarantee you, chat, it's not over. They're gonna keep increasing the prices. They're just gonna keep going, and they're gonna price so many people out of the fucking game. And then they'll be sorry because the game will fucking flop because nobody can
real
afford
life.
it
Losing
anymore.
a big unit can be crippling. Not to nearly the same extent as the Imperial Knights or Custodes, but enough to where throwing battlesuits at a problem until it goes away isn't really a viable tactic. In terms of real life money, take a look at the Storm
True.
Surge. Look at
Oh, the
that!
Storm
Isn't that
Surge!
just so cool? Turns out
The price point is the worst part, but look in it. It's just sex on Mike's chat. Come on. This is
they
so
didn't just
cool.
copy mecha in general, they copied the price of importing the goddamn things from Japan. So get ready to shell out some fun bucks if you want to collect the Tau. And that's the basics of the Tau done and done. Hope you enjoyed the video, and remember... No, that's it. Just remember. Thank you, of course, to my wonderful channel members.
Oh, I love that. And remember, just remember. Damn, okay, maybe I am a Tau communist sympathizer.